how do you respond to our discussion that, in fact, we do not know exactly what's going on in Syria? There are many terrorist groups.
Yes.
These chemical attacks, we do not know who's causing them.
Yes.
And although I personally do not like Assad at all, and you do, I do not know that he's...
I do, but I don't hate him. I have nothing against him.
Okay, now, I do not know that he has made this attack.
Yes.
Now, it feels that the politicians are using these chemical attacks for their own advantage. How do you respond?
Yes, I really think so. And once again, like a few times before, the American voters were deceived. I mean, Trump stated that he wasn't going to take sides in Syria, and that he doesn't know and he can't know who is the good person or who is the bad people, and he took sides. And it is actually a clear message to all terrorist groups in Syria, saying all you have to do, you don't have to do very much, you just have to massacre some civilians, to use chemical weapons against them, and we will do the work for you, because we will accuse Assad of doing it, no matter what, and we will bomb him, so we will do the work for you. So that is the best weapon, the best war tactic you can use.
So what you're saying is you believe that this attack was done by the terrorists and not by Assad?
Yes. I mean, what interest does Assad have to bomb his own civilians or to use chemical weapons? He knows that it would only antagonize other people.
I'm inclined to support your view, and I'll tell you why. When Hitler Yamach Shmo went to attack Poland,
yes,
he tried to convince the world that he's not making a war of aggression, he's actually making a war of defense.
yes.
In fact, he said to the Germans in Germany that the Poles are massacring Germans who are living in Poland.
Yes.
And Hitler's coming to free these Germans who are being slaughtered by the Poles. So he wasn't making a war of aggression. He was simply coming to defend these Germans. So his citizens, a lot of them bought it. Many didn't, because many knew that Hitler's up to no good.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, I've seen the same pattern being employed many times whenever anyone wants to make a war.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the public don't seem to really understand that whenever politicians want to make a war, they need something to play on one's sympathies. So they'll always point to a situation which is very heart-wrenching, such as children dying in Syria, and they will always try to use it to their advantage. Like, they'll never say, okay, we're making this war because we want to get rid of Assad. They'll say, well, Assad's killing children. Now, they don't know exactly that this chemical attack was done by Assad.
Yes, and it was probably not done by Assad. So why do they do it? Because there are some people, unfortunately, in the world that knows what conscience is, knows what mercy is, but they don't have it in themselves. They play with that feeling of other people. And I don't know how people are deceived in that way, because I don't understand. They know that there are no proofs to the responsibility of Assad, as if he's responsible. I mean, I don't see he has any interest in doing such things. And it clearly states to the terrorist groups, you don't have to do much, you should only fire some chemical weapons at civilians, you should massacre civilians, we will accuse Assad for doing it, we will fight against him, and we will help you, and we will do the job for you. That is the message, and can only cause, God forbid, more civilian deaths in Syria. And their blood is on the hands of Netanyahu and Trump. And also there should be an international inquiry commission to probe the suspicion that, according to many people, Israel helped in creating ISIS.
And basically you've gone to all these groups, none of them are moderate. They're all really the same. ISIS and these other groups are very much the same. Free Syrian Army and all these groups. I know what they like to do in the media. They always try to paint a picture of one side being very good and very nice and another side being very bad. So they'll say the Free Syrian Army are very good. Assad is very bad. ISIS is very bad. See, the problem is, in this case, you can't just have one bad guy. There are a couple of bad guys now. So the usual thing of painting one side good and one side bad, even that they can't do. But now there seems to be a change in American policy, because now they're getting very involved in trying to get rid of Assad.
Yes.
How do you respond to that?
Well, that was a defeat. I mean, Trump stated that he would not take sides and would not be involved in the Syrian civil war, or whatever war it is. I don't think it is Syrian civil war, because I don't think the so-called rebels are even Syrian, and they are certainly not supported by Syrian people, but by Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all the dictatorships of the Arabic Peninsula, and also by Turkey, which became a dictatorship for some reason or another.
Yes, so look, basically, what is the way forward in Syria?
The only way forward is to help Assad, to encourage him to win, of course, and to make reforms, and so there would be a democracy. You see, the thing is, Assad was an eye specialist. He could have stayed in London.
Yes.
And could have even emigrated to the United States of America, like all the opportunists do, and could have become the foreign minister of the United States, like Matt Albright and like Mr. Kerry and the other, all those opportunists. And I don't know if he decided to come back to his own country because people asked him to come back and lead. I don't see him being an opportunist. So really, people should think about it, and people should think and ask questions, and not believe or think like every asshole thinks. So
Okay, very good. Thank you for the interview.
all right, thanks.